Greetings and welcome to our newest Oblivion series, the Oblivion Mod of the Month, celebrating the best mods released for the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion each month. And as always, I'm your host, Dark Elf Guy. And before we get into the showcase here, allow me to go into a bit of detail about this new series that we're doing. Basically, this is a lot like our Morrowind's Mod of the Month series, where people can vote for their favorite mods released each month. And the top 3 picks will be showcased in these videos, celebrating the best new mods for Oblivion. Now, since we're so far behind with our, core series of Oblivion modding showcases, I thought this might be a good way of, just showing off a few more mods from the Oblivion modding community, and indeed we have gotten several requests for a video series like this in the past, so hopefully we'll be able to keep up with these smaller videos while we continue work on Oblivion modding showcases behind the scenes. And anyway, June was a pretty active month for Oblivion modding. I believe there was around 50 new mods released in total, and a rather large number of them were graphics mods of one kind or another. As such, our entire lineup today is made up of graphical replaces, and certainly there's some, really good ones here. But before we get to the showcase here, you'll find a link to an online poll where you can vote for the best mods of July down in the video description below, as well as download links for all the mods shown here. Now, moving on to our mod of the month for June 2017, we have not one, but actually 5 mods, all by the same author. It turns out that Discovery1 has released a ton of replaces in June, and rather than, filling up the whole video of just his mods, I thought it might make a bit more sense to just throw them all in the top slot here. These are unquestionably some high quality text replaces that range from replacing the landscapes of Cyrodiil to the landscapes of the Shivering Isles, the realms of Oblivion, the fort ruins of Cyrodiil, and even the cobblestone walls that you often see bordering around the odd cottage here and there. This is obviously, quite a lot of ground to cover, and I do mean that literally, since most of these are ground replaces, and as such we won't be able to, do a detailed look at each set of textures here. In fact, we're probably going to be skipping over a few of these textures here, since otherwise this video would be far too long for my liking. The entire point of the Mod of the Month videos, after all, is that they're short videos that show off just a handful of mods in a modest amount of time. But given the sheer amount this set of graphical replaces sets to improve, it would be impossible to cover them all in a timely manner. So just going to be, taking a brief tour of some of these environments here before moving on. But I'm sure you'll agree that without question these mods do deserve the Mod of the Month title, especially given their evident high quality, which does include bump mapping support. And now it should be noted that with the landscape textures here, it is recommended that you use natural grasses, another one of Discovery1's mods, alongside it. And in my case, I just have the vanilla game grasses, which, work fine, but perhaps don't necessarily fit in as well with the new landscape textures here. And either way though, I think the environment looks, quite stunning, and certainly quite beautiful as well. Now, because we're, going to be skipping over an awful lot here, I was actually thinking about, perhaps doing a longer video at some point featuring Discovery1's retextures in more detail. We've often done dedicated showcase videos for particularly large texture replacer packages in the past for Morrowind. Like the Morrowind Visual Pack, Vibrant Morrowind, and most recently, Darknut's World Textures. And I was thinking of trying to do the same thing here for Oblivion, with videos that range from between an hour to 2 hours long, that provide a simple scenic tour of the lands of Cyrodiil and the Shivering Isles with the new textures installed. And this would be a more thorough way of showing off all the new textures here, as well as what they look like in different environments, and with minimal audio narration. We'd be using music more so for these texture showcase videos rather than my voice, which I'm sure we'd all prefer to this constant rambling of mine. I mean, you guys think you've got it bad, but you only have to listen to this audio once. I actually have to listen to my own audio narrations about 2 times through for the 2 rounds of audio editing we do, and you don't even get to hear the whole thing. This is just a fraction of the audio that's in the final video. I mean, a lot of it gets edited out in post-production. So, really, you guys should be counting your lucky stars that you don't have to listen to me as much as I have to listen to me. But anyway, point is, if you're interested in seeing something like that on the channel, do leave a comment below, and perhaps we'll do a more detailed scenic tour of these beautiful text replacer packages in the future. Now, before we move on, I did just want to mention that this replacer package does indeed cover pretty much all the landscapes of Cyrodiil. We won't be looking at all of them here, as I mentioned, because we are a bit short on time. I'm providing some snippets of the Great Forest, the Imperial Isle, the Gold Coast, and a few other areas of Cyrodiil to try and give you an idea of the variety and the detail of some of these texture places. But obviously, we're going to have to do a longer video if we want to get everything in a bit more detail. This replacer package, for example, does indeed cover the areas around Bruma, but I didn't actually get any video footage of Bruma, and I think we're also missing some video footage of around the Black Marsh border, where there's a few different landscape textures in use. But anyway, moving on to take a look at some of the Shivering Isles landscapes here. You'll notice that this is a rather colourful replacer, with almost rainbow-like patterns on the rocks here, and there's also some colourful designs for the roadways as well. There's a bit of a crossover in this package, showing some of the same textures as the Cyrodiil landscapes, which includes, I believe, some of the beach textures in particular. But again, this is a rather scenic and beautiful set of replaces to your game, and they certainly do add a sort of unique style to the Shivering Isles here. Now again, since I like to keep this showcase a bit on the short side, we're not going to do an overly detailed look at all the different environments here, just a brief look at some of the Mania and Dementia sides of the Shivering Isles divide, with these new textures installed. And while we may be skipping over a lot here, which is to say really more than I'm comfortable with for such a showcase, but we do want to try and keep this video short, this is regardless an excellent set of replaces and well worth, being our Mod of the Month for June 2017. Moving on, our second pick for the Mod of the Month is CC Sky Oblivion Aeolid Ruins by Clarence. And this is obviously a texture replacer for the Aeolid Ruins of Cyrodiil, using the work-in-progress textures being made for the Sky Oblivion project that aims to recreate the lands of Cyrodiil, and indeed, I believe, the quests of Oblivion in the game engine of Skyrim as well. And these are all in 2K resolution, though I believe the final textures for the actual Sky Oblivion project will be, according to the author, available in up to 8K, which will naturally be a lot more visually impressive. But either way, the textures available here for regular old Oblivion are, quite nice looking, and manage to stay true to the original Aeolid feel and style of the vanilla game. And honestly, aside from the ruins looking, more visually stunning and realistic, and perhaps not quite as bright as the vanilla version of the game, the vanilla Oblivion game engine was really heavy on that whole bloom effect. I'm hard-pressed to really tell any major stylistic or color differences from the original textures that shipped with Oblivion. We'll be flying around the exterior portions of this Aeolid ruin here, so you can see the textures in a bit more detail, but from what I've seen so far, I rather like this replacer. It fits in pretty well with the graphics options we have now in Oblivion in 2017. Now this replacer, of course, covers both the exterior and interiors of Aeolid ruins, including pretty much the entire tile set, and I do apologise, it's perhaps a little hard to see the texture quality in here due to the darkness of these Aeolid ruin interiors, but hopefully you can, see the gist of what's being updated here. We're just going to be taking a look at a few of these, hallways and chambers down here with these new texture replacers installed, and, I just have to say, everything looks pretty amazing in here. While I'm by no means an expert when it comes to texture quality, I really love what I've seen here, and this of course goes pretty well with Oblivion Reloaded, which is, the primary graphics mod I'm using in addition to all these replaces. It's really quite evident that June was just a great month for graphics mods overall. I mean, we got several Discovery1 mods, this, and of course our final mod of the month choice, which is also a graphics replacer. Not to mention, I think the latest update for Oblivion Reloaded itself also came out in June, which is something I just sort of glossed over before. And, all these just really help to bring the game's visuals up to a more, modern standard. And I really highly recommend checking them all out, and needless to say, with such an evident high quality, it's no wonder that this is our second pick for the mod of the month. But of course, we have one more mod to take a look at here. Our third choice for the June 2017 mod of the month is Skygazer Moons for Oblivion by Fading Signal and Anoxeron. And now this is quite simply a replacer for the moons of Tamriel, or rather Nirn I should say, with a new graphics for Massa and Secunda, and this is actually an adaptation, I believe, of a Skyrim mod that's been ported into Oblivion. Seems we have quite a few of those in today's episode. The original author was Fading Signal, and the mod has since been converted by Anoxeron, and either way, it's certainly a beautiful and high-resolution replacer for the two iconic moons of Tamriel, coming in both 2K and 1K versions, though the original Skyrim mod was also available in 4K, but that's an option here due to, I think, technical limitations, I believe. But anyway, I've always been a big fan of the Moon Tatario myself, and having such an excellent replacer is certainly a boon to, one's game. There's nothing quite like staring up at the night sky and seeing those two alien moons to remind you that you've been transported to a distant and alien world. And of course, due to the cycles of the moons here, you'll rarely see them, together like this in full view. More often than not, you'll only see one or the other, but that's neither here nor there. This is just a fantastic replacer for an immersive part of the game, and I do highly recommend checking it out for yourself. And anyway, that wraps up our Mod of the Month video for June 2017. As this is still a new series, I'm, open to hearing your suggestions on how to improve it. And of course, all the download links for these mods, as well as a link to our online poll for July 2017 can be found down in the video description below. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.